40% of their racing speed, and the gaps should stay the same, and that's exactly why. Fluttering in the breeze, a very expensive piece of carbon fibre that, well, someone could pick up and return back to Mr. J. Vowles, courtesy of Grove Williams HQ, somewhere in Oxfordshire. Yeah, and it does. Yeah. Did we have that here once before, where we had some debris that stayed on the track for quite a long time?
It was the mirror in Qatar, wasn't it?
Yeah, remember that? Did we have it here as well, I think?
Possibly, I can't remember.
We would try and go to the end on this. Our decision will be if to add a stop, but the goal should be to get to the end.
Well, that answers the question I was just asking there, Karun. Can they go to the end? So with Lando Norris, that's what they want to do, but he did quite well going for a long time in a set of tyres in Hungary.
Yeah, and all this time under the virtual safety car or the safety car, you know, Bernie was explaining earlier, the early laps going slowly, or these laps going slowly, it just helped to extend the life of the tyres there. So the Marshal retrieving it to great applause from the grandstand, and we should see racing getting going. VSC ending imminently, and we'll get a green flag for the drivers to get going straight away. I have to say, Coffee, Isaac Hadjar is driving a super race, isn't he? Like, you know, he's taken on a lot of pressure. First from from Charles Leclerc, now George Russell. But look at these two; they're absolutely together on the restart.
Well, Charles Leclerc has got one part of his car alongside George Russell, has gone onto the gravel, is getting his elbows out as best he can, and what a move that was from Charles Leclerc. George Russell fought that, and fought as hard as he possibly could be, but Leclerc was fully committed, was not backing out. That was brilliant from the Ferrari driver. He's up into 5th place, but now Russell is coming at him. Oh, that was a very late move by Charles Leclerc to block off George Russell. Has he stayed ahead? Only just, but Russell's going to come back again out of turn 1, and they're giving absolutely everything, these two, and somehow Leclerc is staying in 5th place.
Very opportunistic there from Charles Leclerc. Great defense from him as well down at turn 1. Managed to stay in front, but I think it was coming from George getting a poor restart. You could see Hadjar got going. Russell then dropped back into the clutches of the Ferrari, and really brilliant opportunism around the outside. I don't think I've ever seen a successful move of two cars. I know there's a little bit of wheel banging, but that was a really, really good bit of overtaking from Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, nice one, Charles Leclerc. Got the position back he lost by pitting just before the safety car.
Yeah.
While we were talking about that, Carlos Sainz has been given a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. You can tell me about that and your thoughts in a moment as we watch a replay here. DRS zone, and both drivers did have the DRS, and Leclerc's like, no, I'm going to send this. Lick it, send it, post it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, then he doesn't let the space. So he cannot complain.
Well, let's see if he does.
What has the world come to? We're preempting the complaint now as Russell getting...
I mean, it was on the track, surely.
I don't think he was.
Yeah, I don't think he was. I just think, look. He's beyond the white line there.
Actually. Not when he overtook him, he wasn't.
Yeah, at this point he's still behind.
But did he leave the track and gain an advantage?
Well, he will argue that George didn't give him racing room on the inside.
This is Antonelli and Albon, which we saw on board with Kimi Antonelli, where he lost out. But on that occasion, he's actually made the move stick. So Antonelli moves up into 7th. He left the track. Did he gain an advantage because he was carrying a greater speed into that chicane as a result?
No, I'm thinking more about the racing rules in terms of rights to racing space, or you know.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that he had all 4 wheels off the track at one stage.
Yeah, but it's in an overtaking move, isn't it? So I think he might have to give that back, because he was. He was all 4 wheels off the track. Typically, if you've executed a move with all 4 wheels off the track, you'll have to give that place back.
What's the best thing he can do to not give that place back? Maybe put another car in between himself and George Russell? I think that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, and then I just pull 5 seconds gap and try and argue the toss later on. I've got a yellow flag somewhere. I'm
just looking to see who's moving slowly, and I don't see anyone moving slowly. Have we got a bit more debris on the track, I wonder?
Not sure. But on the Sainz penalty, I'm not sure about that. I saw that as both drivers could have done more to avoid the incident, really. You know, Carlos was there, he was alongside. If you look at how Albon and Antonelli handled the turn one, you know, wheel-to-wheel battle, they gave each other room. And I think both Lawson and Carlos need to share a little bit of blame for that. So
it's a surprising penalty for me too, but
yeah.
Analyse that on the Sky Pad later. While we're discussing that, 1.7 seconds the gap is now 1.5 seconds the gap out in front, and Charles Leclerc is coming at you. If you're Isaac Hadjar, who's running the top four and has done a very, very good job so far, but he's got a fast Ferrari behind him, and with DRS he's gaining, but not gaining enough to make a pass into turn one.
Lando, with the field spread, it's unlikely there'll be opportunities. Our best bet is just go get a straight out race.
So, are they saying now forget the one-stop strategy? If we've got a field spread, we might be able to find you a gap. We might be better off pitting once more, or are they saying...
No, the opposite.
Okay.
I think they're saying there's no spread of the gaps to do something different in terms of strategy.
Right.
So your only chance is to pass on track, because we can't really do anything different in terms of strategy.
Which is not great if you're trying to manage tyres then, is it? And go definitely towards the end. I think that's why we had that double yellow. There was a bit of Mercedes flew off and onto the track. Someone will have cleared that away.
Even further back, look, there's some other bits. So there's
quite a bit of debris down there, actually. That becomes even more when other drivers go over it. Well done to the three marshals for collecting as much as they possibly could. Excellent move. 1.4 seconds at the end of lap 36, and on this lap Oscar Piastri is just pulling out a bit more of an advantage over Lando Norris. So are we thinking both McLarens to the end, stopping without stopping again, unless we get a safety car? And looking at those dark clouds, I wonder if we are going to get a bit more rain.
I think everyone's going to try and run to the end. You know, the first one who could be in trouble, could run out of tyres, is Stroll. You know, we know that the Haas cars need to pit because they haven't yet got off those hard tyres. So, you know, I think that's the sort of thing. You know, the first 8 cars are in a position in terms of tyres to go to the end. So the racing, as Will Joseph was saying, will have to be done on track.
In which case then, don't go anywhere. Make yourself comfortable, ladies and gentlemen, because by the end of this race, I'm sure the two McLarens might be a little closer together, and it's going to be a bit nip and tuck between them. Blue skies in part, white fluffy cloud over some of the circuit, darker greyer clouds moving in too. It's a typical Zandvoort day, and Isaac Hadjar is closing in on the car in front of him, which is Max Verstappen. Fernando Alonso is closing in on the car in front of him, which is the other Red Bull of Yuki Tsunoda. I say he's closing in on Max Verstappen. It's a second the gap between Verstappen.
I don't know how his balance on the hard tyre.
I don't know. You put me always in traffic, I don't know.
Yeah, don't talk to me about balance, talk to me about getting yourself out of this DRS train. Yeah, the Hadjar thing is relevant because he might be losing the DRS assistance behind Max Verstappen here, which is not going to help in his fight with Charles Leclerc, who's also just backed off a little bit. So I wonder if that engine's getting a bit hot.
Yeah, I think the McLarens are sort of managing their pace in a comfy zone, aren't they? We saw before the stop they were consistently between 4 to 6 tenths quicker than Verstappen, but now in this stint, Verstappen's sort of hanging on 2.5 seconds behind them.
Let's undercut all these people, I don't know, do something.
Yeah, Fernando, don't worry, we are discussing.
Yeah, the trouble that Fernando's got is that his problems have been caused by his bad start, where he lost 4 places on the opening lap.
But also undercut them and do what? Most of them are running to the end. The 2 Haas cars are the problem. They're stuck there. So he's frustrated. He's got more pace. He's a bit frustrated, frankly, that Tsunoda's not passing Behrman, because Alonso's losing his race time being stuck there behind Tsunoda, who in turn is stuck behind Behrman. So what he needs is Tsunoda to get on with it, at least, or he needs to pass Tsunoda somehow, and here we go.
Well, Tsunoda might be having a go here. Ollie Behrman on the inside, and just about holds off the threat of the Red Bull into turn 1. Sonoda's got a decent exit, though, as they make their way towards the banking of turn 3, but you're going to be brave if you're going to take a low line there and make a pass, and that's not what Sonoda did. He probably lost out in the end in terms of the gap to Behrman widening and the gap to Alonso then closing as a result of that. Was it a bit half committed there from Yuki Tsunoda? He was in position to keep his foot in, go around the outside, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit surprised with that, to be honest. You know, you look at he's got a 19-lap tyre advantage over Behrman. You think of the way Lando used that line, used that grip to go around the outside of Verstappen earlier. You know, that's the sort of move that you need to make around the outside of turn 1, because there's camber in the road. There's a bit of banking there, not as much as turn 3, but you have got some banking to help you. I mean, Lando did a brilliant job to use that to pass Max, and Tsunoda sort of bailed out of it there, didn't he?
That damage that George Russell has picked up with the contact with Charles Leclerc, which, by the way, is being investigated now by the stewards, is starting to cost him time. Antonelli's closing in on Russell. Here comes Tsunoda once again. And there goes Fernando Alonso once again, and Alonso a lot later on the brakes there than Yuki Tsunoda was, and there's only about 2 car lengths between the Red Bull and the Aston Martin as they make their way out of turn 1. And Alonso, I think, you can tell he's fed up behind Yuki Tsunoda and might be thinking now, look, I just need to go and get past you. I don't know what you're trying to do with Ollie Behrman, but I'm coming after you.
Yeah, he's just frustrated, Fernando, isn't he? You know, he's asking the team undercut them, do something. I mean, there's no point undercutting them. He's not doing another stop for the original plan. If he did pit again, he's going to end up at the back of the field. So, yeah, it's just the frustration of being stuck in traffic.
He's led the World Championship as Oscar Piastri for the last 10 Grand Prix and for 10 Grand Prix total in his career, and he's led this race for 40 of the 72 laps, and he's got his teammate Lando Norris right behind him, and Lando Norris has just set a personal best time, and it's taken him to within a tenth more of Piastri. 1.3 seconds the gap, slowly but surely.
I mean, this is a wonderful illustration.
So, George, with this damage on the car, I think best opportunity for the team is invert cars at turn 1.
Sorry?
We don't think we'll be able to keep up with Leclerc here, so...
Well, yeah, well, he's not working with the DRS, but...
Well, he's complied. Antonelli has got past. Surprised me a little bit, that, because Antonelli was closing, but hadn't got to within a second before that happened, before George Russell put the brakes on a bit. But he played the team game, and Antonelli moves up into 6th place. Bernie, to you.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. When I seen the damage for George Russell, keeping a close look at the lap times, Antonelli wasn't significantly faster, so maybe Mercedes see some degradation that we don't see, and they have got margin behind to Albon, so a bit surprised at how early that came, but let's see what Antonelli's pace is now in clear air Crofty, and if we can close the gap to Leclerc.
Let's just have a look. Kimi Antonelli, that's where he managed to get past George Russell. He didn't even do it into turn 1. He complied with that way before the first corner. Now, you were talking about the McLarens, Karun Chandok.
Yeah, I was just saying, you know, this weekend, I think, has been a really good illustration of how this World Championship is going to be won on such fine margins. We were talking about 100th in qualifying.
Yeah.
That's been the difference between Oscar getting track position today and getting those points that we just saw come up on that graphic, right? Like it all comes back to the first run of Q3.
Yeah.
Because actually in the final run of Q3 was Lando ahead by 0.004, and it's these fine margins that's going to determine which of these two drivers wins their first World Championship.
And the best thing about it for me is that fine margins, great. We want fine margins to decide it, because that means both drivers are raising their game and giving of their very best. And we talk all the time about McLaren creating an environment for the drivers to go out and to race. They both come back looking relaxed after the summer break. They know that the team is fully behind them and will give them every opportunity. And they also know that whilst they're driving for themselves, they're not going to do anything to fall foul of the team, because they're going to need their help for the rest of the season. And at the moment, it's created a brilliant harmony and a great dynamic. Now, that might change as we get towards, you know, the final runnings here, and, you know, pressure takes its toll. You know, who can forget Lewis Hamilton, for instance, backing the field up in Abu Dhabi to try and cost his teammate Nico Rosberg the championship. It wasn't exactly playing the team game that day, but you understood exactly why he was doing it. And if it happened in Abu Dhabi, Norris or Piastri did the same thing, you'd understand that too. But at the moment, it's the perfect scenario to give us the perfect intra-team battle between two drivers.
Yeah, and you know what, when we get to Abu Dhabi, they're going to be racing for themselves. Yeah. Absolutely racing
and so they should be.
Absolutely. You know, this is a life-changing event we're talking about. Forevermore, they will walk into a room and be known as a world champion. Just ask people like Jacques Villeneuve or Damon Hill. You know, it's such a life-changing event. And we're saying here, Russell, the damage on his floor.
That looked very extensive.
Yeah, in fairness to Antonelli, he's responded to that swap. He's gained a second on Leclerc in the last 2 laps.
And Leclerc, I think, has backed off a bit for his engine. He's doing a bit of lifting and coasting again, and keeping those temperatures down, because he's lost a lot of time behind Isaac Hadjar in the last few laps. Hadjar is remaining about 1.5 seconds behind Max Verstappen, and Max Verstappen is now nearly 7 seconds adrift of the 2 McLarens, who are separated by about 1.3 to 1.1 seconds, depending on where in the lap they are.
Lando's starting to ramp up the pressure, and Oscar's responding. Both of them doing a lap time within 600ths of each other last time round. 8/10 quicker than Max Verstappen, so nearly a second quicker than the rest of the field. And this is what Lando's got to do, right? He's got to just keep the pressure on, just keep pushing him to see if he can force a mistake, maybe. You know, they've told him strategically, we can't do anything. You've got to do this on track. We know it's hard to overtake without a time delta of about a second, which he doesn't have. So his chance has got to be, right, I've just got to pile on the pressure and see if ice-cool Oscar Piastri does crack.
He's got to get under a second within DRS, and then the job becomes slightly easier to keep that pressure on.
And if you think back to Austria, you think back to Hungary, it was the other way around, where Oscar was in that position where they told him, you have to do it on track. He piled on the pressure. Lando didn't crack. Lando resisted the pressure well. And now, you know, the boot's on the other foot. So it's great. You know, it's enthralling stuff as we go inside the cockpit, inside the helmet here of the race leader.
Had a great chat with Oscar Piastri on Thursday. Just sat in the McLaren. We were talking about the 2 moments where, you know, he locked up behind Lando Norris, one in Hungary, one of course in Austria, and I said, you know, did the ice calm Oscar Piastri go a bit, oh, that was a bit close in Hungary? He's like, well, no, to be fair, Austria was worse. Yeah. I had Hungary all under control, don't worry.
Maybe just, if we stay on board, just talk about what he's got on the dash. On the top left is the lap time, the previous lap. Top right, you see the plus minus. That's his lap delta to his best lap. You see the bar, the vertical bar on the right. That's his battery, so he's constantly looking at that to just keep an eye, make sure the battery, he's got enough in the pack in case Lando does attack. 4 numbers in the middle, those are the temperatures of the 4 tires, so he's keeping an eye on those temperatures, just managing it. We often hear, don't we, about drivers just cool the fronts or the front left's a bit hot, etc. So they're able to keep an eye on that, and that is a brilliant insight into just where the driver's mind needs to keep working, even while they appear to be in a comfortable position at the lead of the Grand Prix.
Esteban Ocon and Ollie Behrman still haven't pitted, and they're running 10th and 11th for Haas. And there's a whole queue of cars that are trying to get past them and are being frustrated lap after lap after lap. And you can't see this yet, but Fernando Alonso, after pitting again, is going to be joining the back of this pack soon on much fresher tyres and trying to slice his way through the field. He's now about 2 seconds a lap quicker than Nico Hülkenberg, which is more than enough to try and get an overtake done. So watch Alonso in a few moments, because he might be 7 places off the points, but in terms of time at the moment, he's only about 7 seconds off the points. That's 8 seconds off the points.
No, but he's only 7 seconds off Tsunoda, which is where he was stuck. My point is, you know, he's done the pit stop, and he's clawed back more than half of the time lost in a pit stop.
We do get a penalty, us 10 seconds, I will say, on the pit stop.
Who? Who gets a penalty? Me?
You get.
Are you joking? You're joking. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing I've heard in my life.
It's right up there on a list of top 5, I think, for quite a few people. I have a lot of sympathy with Carlos Sainz on that one. What I need is an expert to analyse that on the Sky Pad after the race.
I'll try and find one in the paddock.
I was actually looking at you when I said that, to be fair.
As I said, I'd like to see it again, and we'll have a look on the Sky Pad, but I'm trying to see how
that's a 10-second penalty.
That's a 10-second penalty.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Me neither. Bernie.
Yes, Crofty, I was just going to come in on an update on the 2 McLarens and what they would do if there was a safety car now. What would you do, Crofty?
I'd pit them both.
Pit them both? Well, there's been a lot of discussion on both radios. It's been really interesting listening. Piastri's been told he'd only lose position in Norris. Would he take it? Piastri with a very clear and concise, yes, I'd take it for a new hard. They obviously have a new hard in the garage waiting to go on. Norris has been told he would lose position to Verstappen and Hadjar. And then he's been told Piastri would take it. So Norris' decision would be to do the opposite of what Piastri's doing. So lots of discussion going on the McLaren pit wall. Be very interested to see what actually happens in reality, but a lot of battling going on down there.
Yeah, do you need the extra grip, or do you need the track position, or do you need the pit wall to say if one's going to do it, the other's going to do it as well, because that then ensures parity?
I think it's harder to do because Verstappen is still inside their safety car window.
Well,
in 3 laps'
he's not
time,
inside Piastri's, but he is inside Norris's.
Sorry, inside Norris's window, I meant. So, but in 3-4 laps' time, that won't be a problem. So, yeah, at this minute, that would be a headache for the McLaren pit wall in 3 or 4 laps. It won't be, but I'll say here, I mean, the 2 Haas cars are still powering on in 10th and 11th, but they're going to, when they do pit, they're going to drop way down. They're going to drop to the back of the field.
We're on lap 48 of 72 here at Zandvoort, where McLaren are running 1 and 2 and on their way to a 5th consecutive 1-2 finish at a track where a team did get a 5th consecutive 1-2 finish for the first time in the history of the World Championship, and that was Ferrari back in 1952. And sadly for them, there's no chance of a Ferrari 1-2 today, because Lewis Hamilton crashed out, brought out the safety car on the exit of turn 3, and we can hear from him now with Rachel Brooks.
Sorry to see you here now, Lewis. Was it getting on some wet paint? Was it slippery paint?
I'm really not sure. I have to look back at it, but yeah, as I went out the bank, the rear snapped out and I couldn't recover.
How was the car feeling in that race? Because you were chasing George. I know you said on the radio you can't get close, but did you feel in a better position than you have in recent races in it today, or not?
I mean, yeah, it was a bit twitchy, the car, but I think we made real progress this weekend, and my pace was looking pretty decent. I was catching George, I think had the pace of the cars, a few cars ahead of me, but very unusual to not finish a race and so early, to go out so early. It's definitely not great, but it is what it is.
Yeah, big disappointment for Lewis Hamilton. We were just looking forward to the battle with George Russell.
Make sure we go visit the stewards after a race. I want to have a talk with them.
Yeah, keep it calm, I would imagine, will be the advice back to Carlos Sainz, but I'm not surprised. Here's Fernando Alonso, right on the back of Nico Hülkenberg.
I wonder what even Liam Lawson would think. You know, maybe not now in the adrenaline's popping, but I bet if we ask Liam tomorrow whether Carlos deserved a 10-second penalty, even he might sympathise. Look at it. So Tsunoda has now held us back up behind the Haas cars, so it's actually Ocon who's held the pack up. And Alonso has now dragged himself on the back. But this is the challenge, right?
Yeah.
And he wanted to do something different. They put him on the fresh tyres. He's now ended up giving up 4 positions on track. Can he make them back up? Because he's caught Hülkenberg, but now he's been sitting there for 2 laps.
He's not going to do it in the DRS zone. That's the trouble, because Hülkenberg's got DRS too. So he's going to have to pull out an Alonso special and find somewhere else on the track. Maybe like lower part of the banking at turn 3, but no. Just a couple of car lengths behind as he exits that corner. Gap out in front, 1.5 seconds. We'll keep an eye on that between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. Max Verstappen making those medium tyres run very nicely and on for a podium finish currently, which has not been where Max Verstappen has finished since Silverstone. And in fact, he's only had that podium in the last 5 races, including this.
Yeah, I mean, after, whoa, this is Alonso's big snap of oversteer as he came out.
Right, here he goes into the braking zone. Come on, Fernando, you can do this, and he did. So 1 down, 6 more to go, and he might just finish in the points.
Well, the 2 Haas cars will fall behind him, so actually he's only got to pass 4 cars, isn't he?
Yeah.
And actually Stroll, that early stop and fortuitous timing of the safety car has elevated him from being last up into the points, and if he can hang on to these tyres for the next 21 laps, he could sneak in a couple of points here.
His trouble, he's lapping in the 117s at the moment, Lance Stroll, is that when the 2 Haas cars do pit, if they ever do pit, they might actually go to the last lap, and just they've got to hang it out for a safety car as long as they can. He is going to be very vulnerable to cars behind him, having pitted so long ago. This is the 42nd lap that these tyres have done for Lance Stroll. But his teammate might just benefit as well. But Alonso's giving it a charge through the field, and we can see what it looked like from the helicam as he and Nico Hülkenberg did battle down that little mini straight there. Next up, Gabriel Bortoletto. So Alonso will be like, do you want to stay within my management stable?
And Antonelli's pitted. That's interesting. Mercedes have gone.
Soft tyres for Antonelli, who's going to lose position to Alex Albon, but maybe not Liam Lawson. There comes Lawson down that main straight, and then Mercedes played a bit of a blinder here and given Kimi Antonelli a real chance of some flying laps towards the end of this race. He does get out ahead of Liam Lawson, so it's just Alex Albon who's had his tyres on for 28 laps to go to get back where he was. And then maybe ahead of George Russell, who I'm sure will comply once again because the team orders will be there for him. Not sure.
Well, Lawson's a lap down, isn't he? So that
yeah,
doesn't
that's
matter.
Right. No, you're right. But he lapped down, but you know you still lose a bit of time trying to lap the cars.
So yeah, you can see Albon on track is what is he now? Oh, Ferrari preparing to do Leclerc.
Yeah, because they might just think, hang on, if he's boxed, then a gap might open up here that we need to just cover off and make sure we can get our tyres to the end of the race.
Yeah, he'll have to pass Russell on track and possibly Albon as well. Let's have a look here. So Antonelli, does he get the undercut? He's pushing hard on that set of soft tyres. And
well, this is going to be quite close. There goes Antonelli powering down the straight. One more lap, and they if they did want to pit again, would have come out the wrong side of the Mercedes. But they obviously felt that they could and have done, and also crucially needed to. But look, there's Antonelli on the inside, and they tangle! And a second Ferrari goes out at turn 3, and this time it was Charles Leclerc being hit by another car, not going out under his own guises, and that's, well, was a misjudgment, I think, by Kimi Antonelli. He was trying to make the overtake, and he just clipped the Ferrari, sending it spinning around. We've got a safety car, and Oscar Piastri is coming in, and Lando Norris is coming in as well, because they've both got a gap back to Max Verstappen to get a pit stop done. And that's quick work by the McLaren team, but to get the tyres ready, but the rear left for Oscar Piastri was a little slow there, and it's a bit sticky too for Lando Norris. And Max Verstappen is pitting, otherwise Norris would have lost track position to Max Verstappen because of those moments. So no harm done, and the gap will close down for our leader for a second time in this race because of this safety car. But oh dear, Charles Leclerc, really, really unlucky. Muscled his way past one Mercedes earlier in this race and has been eliminated from the Dutch Grand Prix, with the other Mercedes trying to muscle his way past him. And I think Kimi Antonelli's got a puncture, so his race is going to have to see, yep, he's coming into the pits now, but his race has been compromised as well. Karun Chandler, what did you make of that?
Yeah, we need to see a replay. You can see there's Antonelli coming into the pits.
He lost a wheel.
Yeah, the bottom of the car, it's on fire.
Yeah,
the plank's been dragging itself on the ground. Hopefully with a bit of air, once he gets going, it'll put itself out. But everyone's coming in. They're all making use of this cheap stop here. Right, here we go. So Antonelli can see Leclerc coming out of the pit, and Leclerc taking the conventional line. Antonelli's gone for a lunge down the inside and just understeered. So unfortunately, he's going to have to carry the can for that. I think he's just gone in for a lunge and just understeered into Leclerc.
I think that was unnecessary. I mean, we can never know what happened, but honestly, the tires felt good. Anyway, I'm getting up.
Yeah, look, if he could have kept it on the lower part of the track, fine, but he couldn't. And nothing Charles Leclerc could do about that. Yeah, rookie error.
Yeah, well, I don't know about rookie error, but I think that was just unnecessary from Antonelli. I think he went in there way too hard, and he's just carrying the understeer, and he's just gone into Leclerc. There's loads of space. If you want to try the low line, that's fine. You're trying for a move, but then you have to give the driver on the outside space. You can't just understeer into that car.
Bernie Collins at race control.
Yeah, I have a slightly different read on that message from Leclerc, just with my strategy hat on. I think he's saying to the team, he thinks the stop was unnecessary. The tyres felt fine. They should have stayed out. And then obviously being in a slightly different position on track, they don't leave themselves open to that attack from Kimi Antonelli at that point. So that's my read on Leclerc's radio message. I'm sure Rachel or someone in the pen will find out properly for us in a little bit, but that was my take on it.
The upshot is Ferrari head to Maranello in their home Grand Prix on the back of a double DNF here at Zandvoort. And in the battle for the Constructors' Championship, tighter between themselves and Mercedes, it's just handed even more of an advantage to McLaren. Not that they needed it, they were 299 points clear at the start of this race. Their first double DNF since Canada last year, and ending their 100% finishing record with both cars this season.
I tell you, guess who's snuck into the points? Gabriel Bortoleto.
He has, yes.
Another great result on the cards for Sauber. Max Verstappen on a set of soft tyres. So is Isaac Hadjar, so is George Russell, so is Alex Albon, and so is Kimi Antonelli. So the two McLarens have gone for the hard tyre, but they've got a queue of cars behind them who, on the restart, should theoretically have more grip.
Well, Alex Albon has certainly benefited from this by getting a set of softs on. Don't forget Bortoletto's under investigation for running a potentially damaged car.
Yeah.
So that will be after the race. George Russell. George Russell's... Well, I wonder if he'll have to go and see the stewards now. Charles Leclerc's out of this race, but it could carry forward to a grid penalty for Leclerc for the next race. Antonelli under investigation, I would imagine.
Yeah, and we should point out also, Crofty, that Gasly and Bortoletto stayed out there. So that's how they've jumped up the order. They've just rolled the dice and hoping they can hang on. They were out of the points, why not? So they will be in a bit of trouble. Alonso, of course, did that second stop. So his tyres are 14 laps old. And this is, again, the replay of that. Yeah, every time I say, if you look at the angle of where the Mercedes is heading versus, the radius of the corner, it just doesn't look right there.
And Lawson and Sainz are going to be able to unlap themselves at the end of this safety car period too. Bernie Collins, back to you.
Yeah, I was just going to pick up on Corinne's point there. Obviously, Verstappen and the guys directly behind Hadjar, Russell all on used soft.
2 seconds, Bernie.
Double yellow where you are, double yellow where you are.
Oh my God, man. I could not see him at all.
Yeah, hence...
Yeah, you saved me there, man.
It's okay.
Yeah, hence the double yellow flags and the need for his engineer to tell him. A lot of blind exits here. Antonelli's been given a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. Stewards have ruled on that one. Bernie, sorry, back to you.
Yeah, no problem, Crofty. Yeah, they're all on used soft, so they're soft that have done a full flying lap in qualifying. The McLaren's showing up as used hard, but that was only scrubbed. That's only been very lightly scrubbed, but I still think the used soft will have an advantage at the green light of this safety car. So that is one to watch. Can Verstappen get another bite of the cherry from Norris?
Let's dig into the memory bank, Crofty. Think of Barcelona, Nico Hülkenberg on that set of soft tyres, where in that final stint he was able to attack, wasn't he? We saw that unusual sight of Hülkenberg passing Hamilton's Ferrari. That's the sort of thinking that's gone into the decision on the Red Bull pit wall of let's just have a go. And they've throughout today we've been saying that, haven't we? They're making bold decisions, just trying to do something to have a go.
Well, I don't have power.
Okay, you did not have power until 40% throttle. We could not fix it on track. We could not fix it on track. Try and get used to it under the safety car just now. Try and get used to it under the safety car just now.
Well, if you've got 40% power, it's not great, but it's probably okay behind a safety car. But if you can't...
No, that's not what they're saying. They're saying that up to 40% of the throttle application, he doesn't have it, but then it comes in in the final 60%. So essentially, it's going to be, you know, nothing, and then there's the spike of torque. So they're trying to help him, well, not to help him, they're trying to tell him he needs to figure out how to drive around the problem.
Right, here we go then. The safety car caused by Kimi Antonelli. You've got a 10-second penalty for the collision with Charles Leclerc. The two Haas cars were holding out for a safety car. They got it, so they had a cheaper pit stop. Behrman is currently in 11th place. His last 4 race finishes have all been in 11th place. He had a DNF, obviously, at the last race at Hungary. His teammate Esteban Ocon now 14th, so they're going to be back into the equation a bit and scrapping away here. Max Verstappen on the soft tyre is going to be putting pressure on Lando Norris, who's going to try and put some pressure on his teammate Oscar Piastri, who survived one safety car restart, has got to do it all over again. Carlos Sainz has served his 10-second penalty, so we won't have to worry about that at the end of this race, but I'm sure he'd still like to see the stewards. And the safety car period is ending, and we're going to get going. And it was round about now-ish that Oscar Piastri got going before. And he's just keeping him waiting, and now he's going, because we got the green flags and we can go racing. Can't pass until the line, but there goes Oscar Piastri, who's led this race from start to finish, and now has 15 laps to go until the checkered flag, and they're all in hot pursuit after him. Piastri from Norris as they cross the line, from Verstappen, who's gaining on Lando Norris, from Hadjar, and then under pressure, George Russell from Alex Albon. Behind him comes Kimi Antonelli, then Pierre Gasly, under pressure from Fernando Alonso on the inside, and Verstappen still pushing Lando Norris all the way into turn 3.
Verstappen's tyres are fired up straight away, and he knows he's got 1, maybe a lap and a half to pile the pressure on Norris, and that is exactly what he's trying to do.
Which will help Oscar Piastri a bit to try and build a big lead out in front, which he has done on previous occasions. Norris having to watch his mirrors there and still try to gain after his teammate, who's got the free air out in front. After Alonso, Bortoleto running still in 10th. Then comes Behrman, Stroll, Tsunoda and Ocon. Behrman gets past Bortoleto and up into the points for Ollie Behrman on the medium tyre against the hard compound tyre. And Fernando Alonso, we can pick up now, has Pierre Gasly alongside him, and Alonso on tyres that may be slightly warmer, certainly more used, trying to make an overtake. Gasly under braking, manages to hold on to 8th place. 1.2 seconds, the gap out in front. Piastri over Norris. They've managed to clear the threat, I think, for the time being, of Max Verstappen, who will have DRS the next time we come down this straight. But all so far so good for the race leader, and behind is where all the action's taking place.
Yeah, Pierre Gasly is going to do Kimi Antonelli a bit of a favour here, because if you add 10 seconds to Antonelli's time, you know, that's going to potentially drop him out of the points, unless this group of Gasly and Alonso open up that gap. So that gap is important to see.
Certainly is. Fernando Alonso has been on these tyres for 18 laps. Will the older hard tyre still be able to cope with the threat from those that pitted during the safety car? We shall see. Norris is staying within now. DRS of his teammate, Oscar Piastri, and he's got the gap under a second. Kimi Antonelli's under investigation again, this time for speeding in the pit lane.
I mean, that's going to be a no-brainer, so...
You can see where Yuki Tsunoda's really struggling with that power unit issue too, but he's got Gabriel Bortoleto in his sights now, and Tsunoda up against Bortoleto. The Red Bull makes the pass. Up into 12th place, nicely done.
Yeah, soft tyre there for Tsunoda versus a very, very old 36-lap-old tyre for Bortoleto on a hard. Ben is the one to watch for me, as Norris now within DRS, Crofty.
Yeah, said it.
That's not happened for a long time. In fact, I don't think he was within Oscar's DRS at all this race. Now, can he stay within that 1 second? That's what we've got to see for the next 12 laps, as Charles Leclerc still sitting there in the sand dunes watching the race.
Well, I don't blame him. You can't take your eyes off this race, and it's such a shame that he is having to watch it. We'd rather see him in the race itself. 12 qualifying laps is what it needs from now to the checkered flag. 9 points, the championship lead for Oscar Piastri. That could go down to 2 points if Lando Norris can get past him, or it could swing back up again to 16 points if Piastri can stay out in front.
So they went through the detection zone there, and I think Norris was a few hundreds outside, which is why the wing is staying closed down the back straight to 11. So they're both pushing hard. They're both pushing so hard. The detection zone for the start-finish straight comes now, well, a little bit earlier, coming out of 12, and Piastri has opened up the gap. So on this lap, he's going to be safe. Behrman's the one to watch for me, Crofty, because he's got a fresh set of mediums against Gasly, whose tyres have done 36 laps on a set of hards.
And he's managed to clear Fernando Alonso and up into 9th place for Ollie Behrman. We're on board with Alex Albon, who's behind George Russell, who's got damage on his car from the earlier contact with Charles Leclerc. And to go back to Russell's teammate, Kimi Antonelli, if he has been found guilty of speeding in the pit lane, that'll be another 5 seconds to add to his race time, to go with the 10 seconds for taking out Charles Leclerc. So that will definitely take him well out of the points.
Yeah, and now it will put him 15, sorry. So, no, it's not looking good for Antonelli to get points today. On this lap, the gap up to 1.3. So Piastri just eked out another 10th to keep him in a safe margin.
Gabriel Bortoletto, after being overtaken by Yuki Tsunoda, has pitted back out again in last place in this race. Let's have a look at Franco Colapinto's progress here. Behind the Haas of Esteban Ocon, but not for long. He wants to go down the inside on Ocon, and Ocon will try and stay with him for as long as possible, and in doing so will keep ahead of Colapinto, but who's then got a Sauber to his right-hand side. We're not quite sure what happened. 5-second penalty for Kimi Antonelli. He has been found guilty of speeding in the pit lane, and so he's trying to speed there after Alex Albon. Adds another 5 seconds to his race time. 1.5 seconds, the gap out in front. Oscar Piastri seems now to have hooked up those hard compound tyres, and is it business as usual? Certainly has been in terms of this race for Oscar Piastri. Ollie Behrman round the banking at turn 3 has got Pierre Gasly in his sights. The young rookie trying to make his way back up the field once again. He's got a best place finish of 7th in Formula 1.
Right, it's not really.
Copy, Max.
Max is really, really struggling. In fact, he and Isaac Hadji are posting pretty much identical lap times. Yeah, Behrman, if he can get past Gasly, he'll finish 7th in this race at the very least.
Yeah.
Because of Antonelli's penalty. So that'll be a career best for him.
And Haas need that to happen, because Williams look like going to score decent points here with Alex Albon. Isaac Hadji is going to score a good haul of points for Racing Bull. So in that midfield battle, with Stroll and Alonso also looking on course to score potentially some points with Antonelli's penalty, you know, all of those midfield teams are going to score.
Yeah, and they need to. 10 laps to go here. As I say, 10 qualifying laps needed, as there goes Ollie Behrman on Pierre Gasly down the main straight, and he's pushed his Haas up into 8th place. Gasly's tyres, an awful lot older, it has to be said. 39 laps they've done compared to Behrman's 9 on the medium tyre. The strategy for Haas that they were kind of forced into in this race, and Behrman, by the way, starting from the pit lane in this race. They were forced into this strategy, but it really has worked for them. The safety car coming at a perfect time.
Yeah, so now the challenge for Behrman is, can he stay within 15 seconds of Antonelli in the next 9 laps? At the moment it's 8.5, so 7 seconds can Antonelli make in 9 laps. That's the game they're both playing there.
We shall see. The two McLarens moving swiftly away from Max Verstappen chasing them. You can see the gap down the main straight. I think very soon Max Verstappen might not be able to see the two McLarens who are lapping around about half a second a lap faster. Lance Stroll has Pierre Gasly in his sights now, and I'm sure Fernando Alonso will, as he's the car directly behind his teammate.
I think the radio message from Max, just as we see Stroll going past Gasly, there's up into 9th place. The message from Max suggested to me, Crofty, that he's nursing some sort of an issue. He's struggling with ride quality, so over the bumps, the car is you know, it's not riding, it's not compliant over the bumps and curbs as as nicely as he would like.
Possibly a few very light drops in 3 laps time will be less than at the start of the race.
Negligible.
That's the last thing Oscar Piastri really wants to hear. By the way, a lot going on, and there might be a bit of rain as well. The driver of the day vote continues to go on. The Salesforce driver of the day, Charles Leclerc, was in contention. He's not in it anymore, sadly. The race, Max Verstappen in contention, done nothing wrong, out in third. Isaac Hadjar, I'm sure, will be a very popular winner of the Salesforce driver of the day, and he's driven a superb race, it has to be said. Gasly been passed by Stroll. Gasly hasn't been passed by Alonso. That's twice now Alonso's tried that going into the chicane, and twice Gasly's had the better of him. Jacques Villeneuve, the 97 world champion, is with us this weekend. Oh, sorry, 2 seconds, Jack.
I got smoke coming from in the cockpit, I think.
Oh.
I smell something funny.
Okay, we'll monitor that. Oh, no, it's an engine problem. Is this an engine problem for Lando Norris? And that's a lot more smoke than you would normally want to see.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm on fire or not. It doesn't smell good. Smoke in the cockpit.
Okay, mate, we're checking.
Oh, Lando Norris is out of the race. And this tight championship battle, where fine margins have decided everything so far this season, now swings very much in Oscar Piastri's favour, with Lando Norris registering a DNF, a second DNF of the season. This time it's mechanical, and it robs McLaren of that fifth consecutive 1-2 finish, and it's going to cost Lando Norris dear.
That's such a shame. That's such a shame. All weekend we were saying we don't want a reliability problem to ruin this championship battle. You know, we saw the Mercedes power units earlier this season with the works cars, with Fernando Alonso all having issues. We hadn't seen one yet in one of the McLarens, and today we have. And I'm devastated for Lando. I really am, because he's driven a superb weekend, and he done everything right apart from 100th in qualifying, and that's such a shame for him to lose 18 points like that.
Let's put this in context. Lando Norris was chasing Oscar Piastri. Had he managed an overtake, the gap is down to 2 points. The gap will now be 34 points at the end of this race. That is a big swing with 9 races to go. And in many ways, I'm glad we're going racing in a few days' time, because for Lando Norris to sit and have to think about this for a couple of weeks, that is really, really hard. To get back on it straight away and to have the opportunity to go racing and close that gap once more straight away could be just the best thing for him. And I'm sure Oscar Piastri would not want to be seeing his teammate's car stricken by the side of the track, not in any way whatsoever. It is a lonely trudge into the sand dunes for Lando Norris, who sits there and thinks, man, what did I do to deserve this? And the answer's nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at all. And it's another Mercedes power unit problem and failure this season. They've had a few in terms of a power unit supplier, but it's the first one that's really hurt McLaren.
Yeah.
And, well, 2 drivers sat in the sand dunes, both of whom have had their race ended in a way by Mercedes, one by their driver and one by a power unit.
Do you think he's trying to listen to our commentary, Leclerc?
Come and sit in the commentary box. We've got room if he wants.
I'm gutted for Lando. I really am, because that's taken the sting, not just out of this race, but out of the championship battle in some ways. We never ever want a championship battle decided by reliability, by a reliability problem.
Oil leak. I'm out. Failure.
Okay. Can you bring it back, mate?
I'm out. No, it's gone.
Okay. Sorry, mate. Mate, you were fast today. You were really fast.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, mate.
I know. You were fast.
I know. Unlucky, boys. Unlucky.
Will Joseph with the support from the pit wall. Those shots of Lando Norris in the sand dunes, reminiscent of Mika Hakkinen in the trees at Monza all those years ago. But as he waves to the crowd, his crash helmet is off. The realisation is that he's got 9 races now to close down what looks like a 34-point lead in the championship. Now, in life, there's a yin and there's a yang, right? And to Lando Norris's yang is Isaac Hadjar's yin.
Yes.
Because this now promotes Isaac Hadja into the top 3. And the young Frenchman, Isaac Hadja, who started this season by not even racing in Australia because he crashed out on the formation lap, 21 years of age, is on in his 14th race for his first podium in Formula 1. And I tell you what, the nerves now have ramped up a notch or 7 million in the Racing Bulls garage. For Alan Permain, for their new team principal, it could be a first podium under his leadership, his stewardship of the team from Faenza, who've only ever scored 5 podiums previously in their Formula 1 career. Max Verstappen is going to keep up his record of finishing in the top 2 at his home Grand Prix, where he finished last year as well. And Ollie Behrman could be on for a career-best 6th place finish on the grid here. James Vowles, what a race this has been. And Alex Albon is there to take a 5th place for you guys, and that's some very handy points as well.
Yeah, you summarised it well. It's I don't know if it's over yet, but it's been an up and down race all day.
Where do we start? Alex lost a lot of places at the start. He has fought his way back with some very clever strategy, hasn't he?
Sort of the other way around, actually. His start was mega.
Oh, sorry, start was brilliant,
yeah, he got right up behind Carlos, and then from then onwards, I mean, with Carlos and Lawson, in my opinion, that's a racing incident. But anyway, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's cost Carlos, and Alex has done well to hold in there. You can see he's fighting the boats.
James, I agree with you in terms of that being a racing incident. We just heard Oscar Piastri saying there's a line of oil from turn 3 all the way to turn 7. So do you think this race is going to get underway, or do you think we're going to finish under the safety car? Has Alex said anything?
No, Alex hasn't said anything. So we know it was oil with Lando, so that doesn't surprise me. I think it will get underway, Karun, so probably 4 to go.
And Alex is asking on the team radio, any ideas to help me try and get past George? What was the reply?
Go fast and overtake.
Wise words. Thanks ever so much, James.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. So much has happened in this race. I'm surprised I can even remember what happened at the start, Karun Chandhok. It has not been without incident, and we are going to get going again. The safety car period is ending. Now, Oscar Piastri has twice survived a safety car restart with his teammate behind him. Light drizzle is now coming down, says Max Verstappen, who's on the soft compound tyres that have done 14 laps. So this time Piastri's got Max right behind him. Max has got Isaac Hadja right behind him. They're all on the soft compound tyre. Verstappen down to Antonelli. They're all queuing up, waiting to go, and Oscar Piastri has gone. And hopefully this time we are going to race to the checkered flag without any more safety cars. But round the banking we go, all the way to the end of lap 72. Oscar Piastri powers down the main straight, trying to break the toe. Isaac Hadja has George Russell right behind him. Max Verstappen slots into 2nd place. Alex Albon has Antonelli right behind him, but he's got a 15-second penalty to come, Antonelli. Don't forget that. Then Behrman, Stroll, Alonso and Gasly completing the top 10. Gasly under pressure from Tsunoda on the soft tyres. Piastri, though, as he has done in the 2 previous occasions, has got this restart done very well.
He has, and Verstappen on those soft tyres will try and push hard on this first lap to stay within a second, try and get the DRS. But Piastri, I wonder how much is playing on McLaren's mind, Crofty, in terms of engine. Have they asked him to just drop, you know, a few RPM at the top of the rev range? Have they asked him to do anything just, you know, out of nervousness after what they've seen on the other car?
That light drizzle might just find its way onto the circuit in the last couple of laps. That's the message we're getting from the Williams pit wall, and thank you very much, James Vowles, for that. The gap, 9/10 of a second. Oscar Piastri over Max Verstappen, and will have DRS going down the main straight, I would imagine, because he's gone through that detection zone. And I think he was under a second. No, DRS enabled now, so it makes no difference. Hadja holding off George Russell, holding off Alex Albon, then Antonelli, and then comes Behrman, who's just dropped back over a second behind Kimi Antonelli. Then Stroll, then Alonso. Tsunoda's got past Gasly and up into 10th place, and the gap now over a second. Piastri ahead of Verstappen.
It definitely looks quite dark there, doesn't it, under those clouds of that part of the track. And we've got 2.5 laps to go. Behrman is going to end up in 6th place. That is a career best for him as well, isn't it, Crofty? So obviously got 7th in the Ferrari. last year in Saudi.
Yep.
So this will be 6th in a Haas, will be an absolute career best for him.
7th on debut in the Ferrari, standing in for Carlos Sainz. Colapinto right behind his teammate Pierre Gasly, giving him some pressure in these closing stages. For Oscar Piastri, it's not been a comfortable Sunday afternoon. He has coped with everything, though, pretty faultlessly, it has to be said. The gap is now 1.5 seconds. Sainz gets past Bortoletto to go 16. Piastri just wants now lap 71, lap 72 to be as straightforward as they could possibly be. Because the victory and his 9th career win to take him level with his manager, Mark Webber, in terms of race wins in Formula One, is almost his.
Yeah, he's driven a great race, hasn't he? He's done everything he had to do. Swap positions, Gasly and Colapinto, that has happened. Gasly's now plummeted down the order.
Well, his tyres are 47 laps old as well, and Colapinto on the 8-lap-old soft tyres. I think they're just saying at Alpine, look, try and chase after Ocon and Tsunoda if you can.
Yeah, Colapinto's tyres are 5 laps old on a soft versus 18 laps for Ocon medium. So yeah, you're right, that's what they're trying to do. 2.8 seconds of the last 2 laps, that's a little bit optimistic.
Oh, this is a race that, come the end in Abu Dhabi, might well decide in the way that Malaysia did in 2016, the destiny of the World Championship, when Lewis Hamilton's engine went up in smoke on that occasion and, well, gave Nico Rosberg that little buffer that he gratefully accepted. We'll see. There's a lot of racing to go now between Monza, where we go next, and Abu Dhabi for the final race of the season, but 2.5 more miles to go here in Holland this afternoon. And the Dutch fans are going to absolutely love the fact that Max Verstappen's up there on the podium. The Racing Bulls team are going to erupt, along with Isaac Hadjar, as he stands on the podium, and Oscar Piastri, I dare say, might break out into a very broad smile at the thoughts of another win this season.
Yeah, I mean, they're racers, aren't they? Oscar and Lando, they're both racers, and the fact that Lando retired with that engine failure has taken some of the sting out of this race. I think for Oscar, maybe it's slightly less satisfying in that sense, but it shouldn't be, because he's done all the hard work. He was in the lead. It was unlikely Lando was going to pass him on track anyway. And yeah, it's been a fantastic performance from both of them. Unlucky for Lando.
It is the first time in his career that he has started on pole, set the fastest lap, led every lap, and gone on to win the race as well. It's the grandest of grandstands for Oscar Piastri, who's back after the summer break and back on top. He wins the Dutch Grand Prix. It is victory for Oscar, the championship leader. It's a runners-up place for Max Verstappen, and it's welcome to the podium for Isaac Hadjar. That is a brilliant drive for a man who started on the second row and can finish for the first time ever in the top 3. Bravo, bravo. George Russell finishes in 4th. Alex Albon, a brilliant 5th from him after a great opening lap. Ollie Behrman, career best 6th for him. Lance Stroll stopped first and ran a counter strategy to a lot of other drivers, and after crashing twice this weekend has crashed into the top 7 to finish ahead of his teammate Fernando Alonso, who wanted to do something different towards the end, and well, his attacking instincts of the safety car really helped him to that 8th place finish. Yuki Tsunoda is in the points too for Red Bull. And for Yuki Tsunoda, that's a first points finish for some time. Imola, I think, was the last race he got into the points, and completing the points finish, Esteban Ocon, who came home in 10th, and your Salesforce driver of the day, of course, Isaac Hadjar. Well done. Absolutely brilliant.
Fantastic weekend from him, great qualifying, and then in the race, as we were saying, soaked up the pressure from Leclerc, soaked up the pressure from Russell, and did put a foot wrong.
Good job, Oscar. Great job, and a fantastic performance all weekend. This was a relatively tough weekend for us last year, and that's been really strong, really strong.
Woo! Nicely done, everybody. Nicely done. Yeah, good weekend in the end. Yeah, obviously sorry to Lando what happened, but yeah, on our side, well done, everybody.
Once again, orange is the colour to wear, be it a papaya shade or the Dutch orange shade. Ollie Behrman, well done to him. In terms of the rookie drivers this season, you know, there have been some really impressive moments, and this is another super moment for Ollie Behrman. Started in the pit lane, came home to finish 6th. Wowzers.
Yeah, I mean, very, very good performance from him today. I think his team boss was quite frustrated that both drivers had underperformed in qualifying, and for them today to get that result, as we see the fireworks setting off for Oscar Piastri as he pulls up into first place. That message, Crofty, from Tom Stallard, for me, really interesting, because 3 tracks last year where Oscar struggled relative to Lando: Imola, Austria, and Zandvoort. All those 3 tracks, he's been just as quick in the races as Lando has. And I think that just underlines the progress that Oscar's made between 2024 and 2025.
Fireworks all around Zandvoort. There will be a lot to talk about at the end of this race. Don't go anywhere. Join Simon, Naomi, and Jacques Villeneuve down in the paddock. And we'll be talking to all the contenders. But in terms of the victory today, there was never really any other contender. Oscar Piastri. I would have loved to have seen the battle between him and Lando in the closing stages, but he was keeping his teammate at a respectable distance for every lap up until that stage. I can't wait to see the beaming smile on Isaac Hadjar's face as well. Will those two be teammates, Hadjar and Verstappen, at Red Bull for next season? With every race that goes by, you ask that question because with every race that goes by, he really impresses in the way that he goes racing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's showing all the signs of a driver who's got the ability to qualify well, race well, deliver under pressure, and here he goes to celebrate with his team.
Technically, you're not actually allowed to go and interact with any members of your team other than your trainer before the weighing scales, but I'm assuming he's done that already.
He's done that. I saw Joe Bauer
right,
give him his little ticket to say what his weight was.
I was going to say, but you try stopping him anyway, and neither should you. This is what you want to see. Great emotion down there. Really, really great emotion. I mean, for McLaren, you know, there'll be major disappointment and major concern with what happened with oil leak, or the engine failure. It robbed them of a 5th consecutive 1-2 finish as well. They were the last team to get a 1-2 finish here, but that wasn't to be today. See Zach Brown down with Oscar and the rest of the team.
Dr. Helmut Marko's come down to Parc Fermé as well to see 2 of his drivers on the podium. It's been a while since he's had 2 of his drivers on the podium.
Well, exactly.
I can't think when that was.
We've had it where they've been driving for other teams, former Red Bull drivers, but yeah, it's been a while. Let me think on that one for a couple of moments and tell you that it's the first time that Max Verstappen's been on the podium in 4 races, ends his longest run without a podium since 2018. Guido van der Garde is talking to Max now.
Max Verstappen, 2nd today. I think that was probably the thing that you could do, not more. It was not easy.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. Gave it everything at the start, you know, to move forward. Little moment in turn 2, but yeah, after that we just had to do, you know, our own race. Unfortunately, we didn't have the pace of the McLarens. Then yeah, we got a bit lucky, of course, with one retiring. But in general, you know, to be on the podium here is a great result. So to be in 2nd, I think, is a really good achievement for us.
Tell me about the moment, because it looked quite a bit oversteer, no? In turn 2, you tried also with Oscar doing outside on turn 1, but then you went also outside of Lando in turn 2, but you had a huge moment there, no?
Yeah, I tried to send it into turn 3, but unfortunately there was too much sand in turn 2 from the middle of the track to the outside. I knew that we had the softer compound, so I tried to make it work on that first lap.
Last year you also finished 2nd. All the years you've been on the podium right now, from all the moments in Zandvoort. Can you have also a word in Dutch to have all these fans here with orange?
Ja, natuurlijk het hele weekend is ongelooflijk weer geweest. Zoveel oranje en steun. En ja, het blijft gewoon altijd heel bijzonder om hier te rijden. En natuurlijk dan uiteindelijk ook om hier op het podium te staan.
Thank you very much. All the best. Thank you. Isaac Hadja, your first ever Formula One podium here in Zandvoort. You must be over the moon.
Yeah, it feels a bit unreal. You know, and what was most surprising to me is keeping that 4th place for the whole race. Unfortunately for Lando, you know, we took advantage of his puncture, and but yeah, we did no mistake. The car was on rails the whole weekend, and I'm really happy about myself because I really maximized what I had, made no mistakes, and brought home the podium. So yeah, I'm so happy for my guys.
Could you have ever dreamed this before, when you were a young kid, to stand here, to have your first podium?
Yeah, that was always the target since I was a kid. So this is the first step, my first podium, and hopefully much more.
Many more to come. Congratulations. Enjoy the moment, especially with the team. Oscar, you are a Heineken Dutch Grand Prix winner. How must that feel?
Yeah, it feels good, obviously. I feel like it's a pretty hard act to follow Isaac standing up here, so I'll try my best. But yeah, I controlled the race when I needed to, and you know, obviously it was incredibly unfortunate for Lando at the end. But yeah, felt like I was in control of that one, and just used the pace when I needed to. And yeah, there was a bit of a different race to 12 months ago. So very happy with all the work we've done to try and improve around here, and very satisfied to come out on top.
Yeah, last year you struggled a little bit here. What did you change to have this success and the win here?
Nothing special, just trying to improve everywhere we can. And you know, the start of this weekend was looking like a difficult one, and managed to get it together in qualifying. And then, yeah, I was happy with the pace I had today. So yeah, very happy. Obviously, a couple of safety cars that spiced it up a little bit, and we weathered it all. So I'm very proud of the whole team. And yeah, you know, it wasn't just myself that improved to get here. It was with the whole team around me, and you know, without them, none of this is possible. So it's a big team effort.
I think it's a perfect start for the second part of the season, not?
Yep, starting out on top's a good way to go. So if we can keep it running, then that'd be great. But there's a long way to go yet, and keep doing it one race at a time.
You're looking forward to next week already, Monza?
Yes, I am.
Good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oscar Piastri, the winner.
Perfect start for Oscar Piastri on his return to racing after the summer break. For his teammate Lando Norris, it's no points after retiring with a mechanical issue. An oil leak which may have been caused by the chassis, may have been caused by the power unit. McLaren and Mercedes will look into that. It could be a chassis-related issue, but they will go back to Brixworth and analyse that as the team marches on to Monza to continue their winning form, they would imagine, and for Lando Norris to find ways to get past this man, Oscar Piastri, his teammate, who's now 34 points clear at the top of the Drivers' Championship. Karun Chandhok still alongside me here.
Yep. He's been very good at signing off the bottles of champagne to various members of his family. Oh, what's this button? What's he doing?
Oh, set the fireworks off. Basically, you win here. It's the equivalent of lighting up the Blackpool illuminations. Hello. Zandvoort is ablaze with smoke, noise, and colour, and it's all come from Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? You know, it's such... I think on the McLaren pit wall, the deflation of that DNF will be the overriding emotion. You know, I think if I was them, and frankly, you know, I can understand that, right? If I was them, that's what I feel right now, is more how we've let Lando down, or something's let Lando down, and you know, yeah, Oscar's done a fantastic job, and you should celebrate. And that's the tricky balance they're having to play at the moment on both sides of the garage.
Isaac Hadjer won the F2 sprint race here from second on the grid back in 2023. Here from the second row of the grid in Formula One, he's gone and finished on the podium. 5th youngest podium finisher of all time, behind Max Verstappen, Lance Stroll, Kimi Antonelli and Lando Norris.
Like middle of the track to the outside. Yeah. So I knew when I went around the outside that it was going to be slippery, but
not that slippery.
Not that slippery. Oh, you see the sand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. See you later.
Okay. Oh.
No. Oh.
Oh.
No door.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's what happened.
I found it so efficient, like not to close the door in T1, to actually defend. Like multiple times I had George or Charles right here, and I would just brake so late.
And then no chance?
Yeah, because on the middle it's quite bumpy.
Well, yeah, the crowd.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also, if you're just hanging on the outside with speed, like they
Exactly.
can't do much.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
Optimizing the track, using everything that's there and a little bit more.
On a random lap 37.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that was on purpose.
Looks good.
I love these debriefs. I really do. Great insight as well into the defence into turn one. There's a sight you don't see very often. Zach Brown stood next to Helmut Marko, and all very convivial down in Parc Fermé.
Yeah, off to Monza next weekend. Of course, a very different track to the last two, and that's the interesting mix of the World Championship calendar, isn't it? We're going from Spa, which is low downforce, to then 2 high downforce tracks in Budapest and Zandvoort, and then an ultra low downforce track in Monza, which is a completely different challenge for the teams and drivers.
So then, welcome to the podium for the first time ever in a Formula One Grand Prix. Isaac Hadjer, and his result today helping Racing Bulls close to within 2 points of Aston Martin in that battle for 6 in the Constructors' Championship. As for Red Bull, well, they are now 32 points, sorry, 32 points behind Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship, and the relentless march, now 324 points for McLaren in the Constructors' Championship after Oscar Piastri's 9th career win here today. So applause all around then, and for Oscar Piastri, third time this season he's gone into a race leading the championship by 9 points and has extended his championship lead at the end of it. And yes, ultimately down to the mechanical DNF for Lando Norris, but he was on course to extend that championship lead even before that. We were sadly robbed of what could have been an epic climax to a thoroughly absorbing race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, magnificent trophies. They've been painting them all weekend in the paddock, haven't they? And these enormous trophies presented there to Laura Bowden, the Chief Financial Officer at McLaren.
So it's a slightly smaller porcelain. Are they porcelain egg cups? I'm never quite sure. You'd probably need an ostrich egg to stick in one of those to make it work. But for Max Verstappen, it's another podium to add to his collection. His 118th in Formula One. And listen to those cheers. A first for the cabinet. A first in Formula One. Absolutely fantastic. Well, what a race. We march on to Monza. Lando has it all to do to try and close that gap once again. It's his teammate spraying the champagne as the championship leader and as the winner here of the Dutch Grand Prix. And for Isaac Hadjar, welcome to the podium circle in Formula One.
around underneath it. Thanks, Rafa. This is gone.
I must say, I think that's very harsh indeed. If it's for a foul, if it's for offside, perhaps, but I don't think it can be.
Maybe somewhat surprisingly, Atletico Madrid were not interested in keeping. He's made a very good start to life at Villarreal. He impressed last season at Alaves. Can play it right back as he is at the moment. It's a position that maybe he's not. They don't have huge cover for Atletico Madrid, but I'm happy for him to leave for 10 million.
I guess part of the answer is that 10 million, isn't it? That they would have felt that maybe that was a decent fee to take for him. But given the outs with Molina, and given the fact that we still see Marcos Llorente normally play as a fullback, I suppose with Llorente they probably felt that they were covered there, but I'm with you on that. I think it feels like a pity that they maybe didn't have a little bit more patience with him.
What potentially is Villarreal's game this season. Ball played into Pepe. Comisania sends him down the right. He's got Buchanan making movements ahead inside the penalty area now. Buchanan, he's got options in the middle. One of them is a Young. Back it goes to Pape Gay. Cross towards the back post will go harmlessly out of play.
Quite like the fact that before this game, in the pre-match press conference, Claudio Fernandez, the Celta manager, and actually he would have done us a favour. He said, look, I feel like telling you lot the starting 11 just to stop you talking about the transfer window, because it's inevitable that 24 hours away, everybody is thinking about the potential changes. And the reason I bring that up is there's a suggestion still, they still might be after a goalkeeper. The player they really would like, of course, is Bryce Mendez, and bring him home and bring him back to Celta de Vigo, another youth teamer, another Galician.
Chance here for Aspas, and off target in the end. Well, the window, as you say, open until Monday. And we think Villarreal trying to complete the signing of Georges Mikatadze, the Lyon centre forward, and Celta, if they do any business, maybe for Bryce, and